Hi everyone, welcome to practice. Happy Tuesday. I am so glad that you are here joining me tonight. My name is Anna. This is AWH Yoga. I am super excited about tonight's flow. I will say it is a little bit ambitious. I am really looking forward to bringing you this energetic, powerful sequence. I developed this while thinking about actually a friend of mine that does CrossFit, and I was thinking about how sometimes it's very different the way we sort of approach our exercise routine, but there are a lot of things that overlap and a lot of things that I think can benefit each other, and that's why we're always talking about those things. So I was trying to think of what would be some elements to really focus on to support individuals that do that kind of athletic work. So we're going to be focusing on opening up the chest, and we're going to be focused on opening up the hips. So as we move through the practice, we're going to get the body really warm, we're going to get those elements really open, and then we're actually going to move toward Ardha Chandrasana, which is a balancing pose. So we'll be sort of taking all of that to the next level and balancing on one side. So a lot of opportunity tonight to get really warm, maybe get a little bit sweaty, really get into it, challenge yourself, but always be compassionate about where you are tonight. Remember, the body is different every single day, every single time you come to your mat, so always be mindful of that, and only you know where your edge is. So that being said, gather up your props. Tonight we're going to benefit from a strap. So as you guys know, I use this resistance band that I've never used as a resistance band. If you have a belt, that would also work. Lots of different options. My friend Daniel the other night used a computer cord, I think, as his strap for a class, so you can be creative there. Two blocks if you have them, and then a pillow, blanket, something to make yourself more comfortable or elevate in some of our seated postures will also go a long way as well. So that being said, put on something comfortable. Let's get started. We're going to start on our back this evening. Finding your way onto your back, sort of letting all of the jitters of the day and the preceding moments just sort of fade away. And just de-emphasize any of those nagging alerts, whether they're from your actual phone or your sort of mental phone. Just let that all go for now. The only place you have to be is here, and the only thing you have to do is breathe. Keeping the eyes closed, start to become a little bit more aware of the breath and its rhythm. Right now, we're not looking to do anything about it, just sort of observe your breath as it goes in and out of the body. Maybe you notice your belly rising with your inhale, and you feel the breath moving up through the lungs to the chest, and then back down again as you move through your exhale. And maybe you begin to deepen this breath work now that you started connecting with it. Let's do a couple more beautiful deep breaths here together. And though each of us has our own breath rhythm, we're still doing this all together. One more deep breath. Exhale, sigh it out of the mouth. And just take a moment here to set an intention. So continue your breath work, but maybe use this as an opportunity to perhaps dedicate this practice to focus in on a central theme, something you've been looking for, something you're trying to do. And let's seal that intention with a breath together. Inhale through the nose. And exhale, side out of your mouth. It's nice to give those exhales a little bit of an audible sound. And you can continue that throughout the practice when you sort of need to take that reset breath. So from here, we're going to invite a little bit of movement. You can open your eyes and maybe wiggle the fingers and toes. And then roll the wrists and ankles. So you choose the direction. Mine sort of go, I think, in opposing directions. And then just keep the movement very gentle. And then wherever you are, kind of pause and then reverse the direction. I think this in itself is probably challenging enough for our evening work. Let's do 2 more circles here. And then pause. And now slowly bring both knees into the chest. Clasp your palms on top of your knees if that's comfortable for you. Be sure to remove any props if you were using them during our introductory Shavasana. And then bringing the shoulder blades away from the ears, and then feeling sort of the back of your upper back pressing down to the floor as you already start to think about having an open chest. So already here, even though we're not doing anything that's too movement based, already think about opening the chest. And then bringing the knees closer into the body, we're just going to roll on the back a little bit. So you can keep your palms on your knees and then start to roll sort of on the small of your back in either direction. You choose the direction first. And then maybe expand those circles a little bit, letting the knees get a little farther away from the body. And then pause. And then go back the other way. We always want to make sure that we do those in sort of even tones so that we've given the body an opportunity to be symmetrical. And then coming to stillness. Now, I apologize, I neglected to say that you should bring your strap, so you need to go ahead and grab that. Now is a good time. And using your strap here, extend your left leg long, keep some energy in that. Your hip's going to stay, buttocks is going to stay on the ground. And then place your strap around the ball of your right foot and extend your right leg high into the air. Now, the leg should be coming pretty much straight out of the hip socket, so you don't want to have it kind of too far in front of you or coming too close to the body. If you can have your leg close to your body this early in the practice, then you've got the most amazing hamstrings ever. So we want to be gentle with our body now. So straight up in the air, and then I just want you to gently bend the knee and then extend the leg out to the right. So place your hand sort of on your left hip to keep that grounded, and then slowly using your right arm to guide on the strap, gently open that right leg and hip. And maybe only go about halfway. For me, about halfway down is where my left hip starts to say like, hey, I want to get up. And I say, no, you have to stay down. And let's take 2 breaths here. You can introduce your Ujjayi breath at this point, which is breathing in through your nose and then out through your nose as you gently constrict the back of your throat, having that sort of fogging up the mirror kind of feeling, but with your lips closed. 1 more breath here. And then slowly coming back, being mindful of opening the chest, keeping the shoulders on the ground, coming back to center, and then release the strap, bringing the knee into the chest, and then just holding there for a breath. Exhaling out, keep that energy in the left leg too. And now we're going to keep
our hand on our knee. Again, placing that left hand on the left hip, right hand on your right knee, and then just open up that leg to the side, but keeping your knee bent. So kind of imagine that you were maybe starting to work toward like a tree pose if you were standing. So you really feel this in your hip flexor and opening up your inner thigh. Let's take 2 breaths here. One more breath. And slowly bring your right leg back into the center, and then hug it in for just a moment, and then extend your right leg back down to meet your left. Bring your left leg into the body, holding your left hand over your knee, grabbing your strap, and then placing your strap over the ball of your left foot and extending your left leg to the sky, having the leg come straight out of that hip socket, so not too far forward and not too close to the body. And then a gentle bend in that left knee. And then from here, grabbing the strap with your left hand, placing your right hand on the right hip to keep that grounded. And then we're going to open up that left leg from the hip all the way to the outside as far as it can go until that right hip wants to pop up. So you might not be going too far. You might be going, 20 degrees or 30 degrees out, and that's perfectly acceptable. We're just introducing the concept of openness in the hips to the body. It's really critical to do this very slowly at the beginning of our practice. One more breath. And exhale out. Beautiful. Bringing that leg slowly back to the center. Mindfully removing the strap, placing it carefully down beside you, squeezing that left knee into the chest, hugging it in. And now we're going to extend with our knee bent. So clasping your left hand over your left knee, right hand on that right hip, and then opening that left leg out to the left side, and making sure we keep our right hip grounded. 2 good breaths here. And one more breath. Beautiful. Maintaining that openness in the chest, softening but lengthening the neck, and then keeping those shoulder blades onto the back, onto your mat. Bringing your left knee back into the chest. Now bring your right leg in to meet your left. And then for just a few moments here, I want you guys to actually do Happy Baby. So Happy Baby we typically do at the end. If it's accessible to you, you can do Yogi Toe Grip, or you can clasp the outside of your ankles or feet. But I want you to keep the small of your back on the ground, so what we just kind of were rolling on, but palms of your feet, the flat of your foot, sole of your foot to the sky, and then Happy Baby. Now we're not too super warm yet, so we typically do this at the end of class where we're pretty opened up, but I want you to kind of notice this so that we can work through some of this comparison at the end. You can certainly rock here, get a little bit of movement. Maybe you've got your Yogi Toe Grip. You're moving back and forth. Whatever's comfortable for you, just get a little bit of movement with the hips in this open position, feeling that slight pull on the inner thigh and groin, and then coming to stillness. Deep breath in. Releasing the hands from your Yogi Toe Grip or palms, bringing the knees together, exhale. And then I want you guys to rock and roll up. So what we do when we rock and roll is get the full length of the spine to get a little bit of sort of juice going. So I usually clasp my right ankle over my left leg and then hold underneath so that I'm below my knees or on the back of my thighs. So get a little momentum going, not too much. You can also do this with your legs parallel and just grab your knees. And I want you to just do a couple of these. And I want you to come up to sort of your balance point. So if you come all the way up and your feet hit the ground, obviously you're fully balanced, but you're looking for that balance on the sits bones. So come up until you find sort of your balance point. You might even want to do sort of arms out like boat pose. So rock and roll and up and hold. And rock and roll, up and hold. You're engaging the core, finding that balance point, starting to introduce the body to not having all the points of foundation. Let's do 2 more. Use your breath here. So maybe inhaling back, exhaling up, nice. So kind of holding in that position you found for just one more moment, and then exhale everything down. Cross your ankles right over left, and then pushing forward onto your tabletop pose. So in our tabletop pose, we're going to do one of my favorites, cat-cow. Where's my friend Daniel? Always says it correctly, cow-cat, so we always do cow first. Points of foundation here, you've got your wrists under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. So I always say you don't want to really be a parallelogram. You always want to be thinking of yourself as like a square. And then something I noticed actually when I watch my own videos, when I audit my videos, is that I will emphasize having that sort of soft and neutral upper back, but I can still see the tension there. So something to really think about, we're aiming for that neutral spine. And to do this, part of what we really need to emphasize and work on is drawing the navel up to the spine, but to avoid the compensating action of the back arching, we expand the shoulder blades apart as we open and broaden the collarbones. So let's think about that for a moment. Think about opening the collarbones and then also expanding and softening the shoulder blades apart from each other. It's pretty nuanced, pretty subtle, but once you become aware of it, it's actually a really nice feeling and actually really adds to the balance of the posture. So from our nice neutral position and our softened upper back and lengthened cervical spine, looking out about, I would say, a hand or two past your own fingertips, and then we're going to drop the belly down, inhale, chest and chin to the sky, cow pose. And then we're going to do the opposite action, cat pose, arching the back up like a Halloween cat, letting the weight of your head really pull down and getting that cervical stretch, and then inhale. And then exhale, cat pose. I want you to take these super slow. You got plenty of time, nowhere to go. Really feel sort of every frame of these as you move throughout. I really also want you to focus on the upper back. So when you move into that cat pose, really feel the upper back lengthening and creating space. Certainly an area for me that is super tight, and the more mobility we have in our thoracic spine, the more we can actually open up the chest. So they go together. So let's do one more on your breath cycle. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. And then coming back to that neutral spine and feeling the difference there. One good breath here. Squeeze those outer hips in gently, moving everything kind of toward that midline. One breath. Exhale out of the mouth. And we're going to move into puppy dog pose. So for puppy dog pose, you can leave your knees where they are and sort of ground just a little bit on the shins and tops of your feet, just to give yourself some stability, since you're going to move off your hands a little bit from a foundation. And crawl your hands forward and try to keep your knees under your hips, and then you're really just extending out. So similar to child's pose, but instead of having your chest sort of all the way down and your hips on your heels, you're sort of staying more elevated. You can bring your forehead to the ground. Take a couple deep breaths here in puppy dog. Puppy dog pose is actually a slight inversion, and all inversions create that benefit for calming the nervous system. One more breath here. Also getting some introductory work to the shoulders and warming those up. And then coming back up to your tabletop position, we're going to move into thread the needle. So from your tabletop position, extending your right arm to the sky. So think about twisting your navel. Everything stays the same for foundation. Twisting from the navel up. Twisting to the right, arm goes up, and then back of your hand is going to sweep the bottom of the mat, crossing underneath the body, extending out, placing the shoulder down. Maybe your right cheek side of your head is on the mat, and extending that left arm out. Again, try to think about keeping the knees and hips aligned. is extremely challenging. It looks like it shouldn't be hard, but it's actually really easy to get the body sort of out of alignment. So keep that in mind, and let's take 2 deep breaths here. If this is uncomfortable for your shoulders, you can bring your left palm closer to the body. I know for me this is a lot of shoulder work. 1 more breath. Exhale out. And then pushing onto your left palm, bringing yourself back up the way you came, sweeping back up and getting a little twist, and then placing your right palm back down. So we're going to move on to the other side. I'll just switch to give you a different view. So from our neutral tabletop position, extending the left arm up, twisting only from the navel. So we're not twisting the whole body over. We're keeping everything else the same and really just twisting from our torso. Left arm up, and then turning the palm up, sweeping underneath the body, placing that left shoulder down, right palm extends out if that's comfortable. Get a couple deep breaths here in our thread the needle. There's a lot going on in this pose, and I know it's early on. We're really just introducing the body to some concepts. 1 more breath. I'll have to add some of my other shoulder ideas in our next video. Maybe I'll have to jot those down in between checking on the camera, which only films for 29:59. All right, 1 breath here in your neutral tabletop, and then we're going to start to get some more movement into the body. So from your tabletop, I want you guys to take your hands about a palm's distance forward. So we're moving into like the parallelogram. And then we're going to actually move into cobra pose from here. So pitching the body forward, squeezing the elbows in, and then move into a cobra. So you should already start to feel kind of a nice stretch for the hip flexors, because we've kind of been up and squeezing in for a while. So getting that cobra pose, and then really getting that nice long cervical spine, pressing down through the hands evenly. And then you can either move back through knees, or you can flip your toes over and move through sort of a half plank, and then kind of into our down dog, first down dog. So first down dog, I want you to take 3 to 5 breaths and get some dynamic movement in here, whatever you guys need to really work that. Wow, I had a really crazy ankle crack there. Oh, there's another one. So I'll call this sort of running the dog. If you lift your feet all the way up, you can do whatever is the right type of dynamic movement for you. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. And when you've found what you're looking for, come to stillness. So I want you to move your left leg in just a little bit so your feet are just a little kind of closer together, and then extend the right leg up. This is 3-legged dog. 3-legged dog, we're introducing a little bit of balance to the body. Doesn't seem like a lot. Take a breath. And then exhale, knee to nose, pitching forward, and then drop your right leg down to the right side of your mat, so closer to your right hand, and then drop your left knee, uncurl your toes, arms up, Anjaneyasana. So from here, you're squeezing those outer hips in. Right knee is over right ankle. Really feeling that stretch already in the left hip flexor. Shoulders are soft. 1 more deep breath here. And then exhale, palms to your heart center, and then down on either side of your right foot. Uncurl your left toes, popping back up to sort of a low lunge, moving your right leg back silently if you can, and hold in plank. So in plank pose, we're 1 long line, evenly pressing down throughout the palm, squeezing those biceps in, so you've got that external rotation, dropping that butt down. 1 more breath, and back up to your downward dog. Beautiful. Let's take a deep breath here together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through your mouth. Let's move to the other side. So left leg lifts up. We're going to take a couple breaths here. A little bit of balance for the body. Notice when you move that leg up, things start to kind of, compensate for that action. So considering that when we move into our balancing later. 1 more breath. And then on your exhale, knee to nose. And then placing your left foot down, so you're in your low lunge. Then drop your right knee, uncurl your toes, Anjaneyasana, other side.
Beautiful. So really let that left hip flexor stretch. Keep that left knee over the left ankle. You're squeezing your outer hips in, so your glute meats are working really hard right now to keep everything moving toward that midline, just like we were talking about in our cat-cow. Soft shoulders. Externally rotate those arms. Any discomfort in the shoulders, always can keep your hands at prayer, but remember, don't let the rest of the body sort of get lazy when you bring your arms down. Everything else stays the same. Think of it in two components. One more breath. And exhale, palms down to the floor. Uncurl your right toes, popping that knee up back in your low lunge. Keep that buoyancy, squeezing in through the outer hips. Left foot meets right. Soft and strong, silently back, plank pose. Drop the butt down, squeezing those elbows in. 2 more breaths in plank. And then lifting the hips to the sky, downward dog. Beautiful job. 1 breath here. Inhale. Exhale out. Look forward between your palms. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Meet me in a halfway lift. And then forward fold all the way down Uttanasana, and you're going to be in your ragdoll pose. So keep your knees bent. If for any reason you need to bring the ground to you, great place for your blocks. So maybe you're here, or your blocks are giving you a little more space. If you have tight hamstrings, another thing that a lot of athletes will face, absolutely will get 100% of the benefits of this posture without being folded in half like a piece of paper. So please always use your blocks. I used to think that blocks meant cheating, or that blocks meant I wasn't going to get the full benefit and I wasn't really doing yoga, but blocks are your friend, and they absolutely encourage the best expression of the posture for your body. So I highly, highly recommend. Let's do 1 more breath here. And then from here, I want you guys to squeeze those outer hips in, ground down through all 4 corners of your feet. You're going to root down and then rise up, Urdhva Hastasana, arms above your head. And then exhale, palms through heart center. And then just pause here for a moment. Feet or hips width distance apart, pausing in our sort of Tadasana here. I want you to really feel grounded on both feet. Lifting up on the kneecaps, activating the quadriceps, drawing the tailbone to the floor. Front hip points coming up just a little bit. Broadening that chest. And then making sure that your jaw is nice and soft. Eyes are soft, maybe closed. 1 more deep breath together. And exhale out. Beautiful. Hands can come down to your side if they weren't already. We're going to do a little bit of a side stretch and then open up the chest a little bit. So feet or hips width distance apart again. And then from your Tadasana, I want you to stretch your left arm up above your head, keeping your left shoulder nice and soft, and then stretching over to the right. You can keep your right palm close to the body. You can place your right hand on your hip, or if you choose, you can do candlestick, I believe this is called, where you actually have your hands clasped. The most important thing here is that you're lifting up out of those hips, out of the waist, before you stretch over. So we're not collapsing. You want to keep everything open. Imagine later when we're doing our Ardha Chandrasana, that same sort of lifting and opening expansion of the body. 1 more breath here. And then coming back to center. Any pain in the lower back, always make sure you back off just a little bit. So take a deep breath in. Exhale out of the mouth. Really using those reset breaths today. And let's move to the other side, keeping the left palm close to the body if you choose. Right arm goes up, and then we're stretching over to that left side, lifting up out of the waist, creating length in that right side body. Air between all of these ribs, creating all that space. I always feel 5 inches taller when I do this stretch. Maybe I'll finally be 5'7", like I said on my license. Wink, wink. 1 more breath here. And then back through center after we created that space. Hands through heart center. And down by your side. Beautiful. So now we're going to open up the chest a little bit. We're going to sort of do this. We can do 2 options. You can do this standing up, or you can do this on the knees, or maybe seated on a block. So kind of like Ustrasana or camel pose. I like to be on my knees because it really helps me focus on opening up just my upper back instead of using my lower back and worried about balance. So I'll show you from the side. So clasping your hands together behind your back, whether you're standing or on your knees. If you can hold your palms together, that's fabulous. If not, you can just simply clasp, interlace your fingers. So with your hands behind your back, you're going to think about expanding and opening the chest and then opening through the upper back. So from here, take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, opening up that back. And take a breath here if you can. And then coming back to center. So if you're standing up, make sure you stay grounded. Be aware of any dizziness. If you're on your knees, it might be a good idea to just kind of take a pause. So when we do camel, we always take that neutralizing, pause in between. Chest opening and expansion can be very energizing. So you always want to just kind of be mindful of that. So let's do one more. So clasping the hands behind the back, palms together if you can, and then just sort of on your breath, opening up the chest and really feeling it from the upper back. So instead of from our lower back, it's really as if it's just coming from the upper back. One more breath, and then exhale back down. This is also something you can absolutely do in a seated posture. Either way, standing, seated, or sort of halfway is really good. Just take a moment, take a breath, feel that openness. I already feel just so much energy. And we're going to need it because we're going to get 5 sun salutations in next. So coming up to standing and feet hips width distance apart at the top of your mat, and let's get moving. So inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Palms to the floor, stepping both feet back, plank pose. Squeeze those elbows in, pitch forward. You can move through on your knees or not. Back to your downward dog. Take a breath here, inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Look forward between your palms. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Land in your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Root to rise, squeeze those outer hips in. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. And down by your side. Let's keep going. Inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Palms to the floor, stepping back, right or left or right, plank pose, pitching forward, elbows in, halfway to your cobra or upward dog, curling back over those toes, downward dog, one breath here. Exhale out, looking forward between your palms, hop, step, or float to the front of your mat, landing in your halfway lift, knees bent. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center and down to your side. Beautiful. Let's keep going. We're going to do a sun B. So inhale, arms up, chair pose. Now in your chair pose, you're squeezing those outer hips in. Arms can be biceps by the ears, or I'm going to do hands in prayer. So either place, open that chest, looking for that soft neutral back, squeezing those outer hips in, weights in the heels. So our weight is in the heels. You should be able to lift your toes up as you're standing here. One more breath. And exhale, let it go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the floor, stepping back into your plank pose. Remember, you can always drop your knees, but still pitch forward, squeezing those elbows in, dropping halfway, keeping everything really nice and straight. Curling back over the toes, lifting up to your downward dog on your breath. Inhale in. Exhale out. Look forward between your palms, hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. One breath here. And on your exhale, arms up and down by your side. Nice. All right, let's keep going. Inhale, arms up, chair pose. We're gonna call that a sun ab because I'm sort of an A and a B. Inhale, one more breath. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the floor, stepping right foot and left foot back, squeezing in, pitching forward, halfway, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward dog, hold for a breath. Exhale out, right leg up, like when we did our three-legged dog. Then knee to nose, placing the right foot down, closer to the right side, then drop that left foot down, 45-degree angle, squeeze those outer hips in, and then coming up, warrior one. Deep breath here. Ground and settle. Ground and settle. Nowhere to go. We're just going to hang out here for a minute. Soften the shoulders. Where else can you soften? Can you soften your jaw? Can you feel the strength in your legs, but can you also feel the buoyancy and the lightness? One more breath. And exhale. Palms through heart center, down to the mat, either side of the right foot, turning the foot back neutral on the left side, popping that right foot back, silently dropping the knees or not, pitching forward, squeeze those elbows in, halfway lift, Urdhva or Cobra. Exhale, down dog, left side, left leg up, hip height, knee to nose, dropping the left foot down, closer to the left side of your mat. Now drop that right leg down, 45-degree angle, squeeze those outer hips in, lifting up to your warrior one. It's okay when you are working through these postures to resituate your foundation. You don't have to just perfectly get in there every single time. That's not what it's about at all. I very often have to stop and look and see where my knee and my ankle are and what's going on. Maybe adjust your footing. Make sure you give your hips enough width. Where else can you soften? One more breath. And then exhale, hands down. Either side of your mat, popping that left foot back, pitching forward. Inhale, Urdhva or Cobra. Exhale, and back. Look forward between your palms. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Picking up the pace a little bit. Exhale. You could always pause, get a drink of water if you need it, but we're going to keep going. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, palms to the floor, stepping back. You can always take knees down. Inhale, halfway lift through your Urdhva or Cobra. Exhaling back down, downward dog. Inhale, leg to hip height, knee to nose. Dropping that right foot down. Left foot goes down, 45-degree angle, back up to our warrior one, squeezing the outer hips in, arms up, and take a pause and a breath. Exhale out. Now bring your hands through heart center, and then stretch them out. So stretch your wings out. I can't stretch all the way out because I'm on the wall. And then I want you guys to do thumbs down. Please don't do that to my videos though. Thumbs down. And then clasping behind your back, and we're going to move into humble warrior. So like we did before, we're going to open up the chest, pulling the palms down toward your tailbone, opening up that chest. Deep breath in, and on your exhale, folding forward. Folding forward. So as you fold forward, that right shoulder has a date with the inside of your right knee. And you want to feel that combination of strength and stability at the bottom half of your body, but the lightness. Draw your navel to your spine. Don't allow your body to just fall down. Let everything continue to lift. One more breath here. And then pulling yourself back up, using the strength of your legs, moving those arms back up. Warrior one. Exhale, hands through heart center, down by your side, through your Vinyasa. You can always go straight to down dog if you need to. I'm going to switch sides. All right, left side, left leg up, hip height, knee to nose. Dropping the left foot down, making sure you're solid in your foundation. Give yourself enough room. Drop that right foot down 45 degrees. Squeeze the outer hips, lifting up. Warrior one. Take a breath. Hands through heart center. Extend your wings out long, and then thumbs down, moving the arms behind the body, drawing your palms down toward the tailbone. Open up your chest. Inhale, and then deep Deep bend on the exhale, dropping down to that humble warrior. So the left shoulder is looking to meet the inside of that left knee. Feet and legs are doing the exact same thing. They're keeping you stable and strong. Nothing is changing there. And you have a lightness in your upper body as you're in your humble warrior. One more breath. And on your next inhale, lifting back up, release the palms, bringing your arms back up, warrior one. Deep inhale. And exhale down through heart center, palms to the floor. Left foot meets right, pitching forward, squeeze those elbows in. Inhale, Urdhva or Cobra. Back over the toes, downward dog. 2 deep breaths here. Inhale. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale out. And look forward between your palms, hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Land in your halfway lift with your knees bent. Exhale, forward fold, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana. And then back down through to your chair pose. So stay in your chair pose for just 3 breaths. Weights in the toes, squeezing those outer hips in. Make it count. You're already here. Squeeze everything in. And let it all go, forward fold. Beautiful. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Urdhva Hastasana. Hands to your heart center and down by your side. Nice. Okay, so the next flow is actually going to have our peak pose in it. Somehow my mat has crawled its way to the back. So I want you to have your block close by. We'll be starting with the right, if I do it right. So you want to have your block to the front right edge of your mat. When you're ready, let's do this. I feel like this might be a hair up kind of a situation. So let me just take an opportunity to take care of that. All right, here we go. Inhale, arms up, chair pose. Deep breath in, and exhale, let it go. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, palms to the floor, stepping back into your plank pose. And then from your plank pose, pitching forward, squeezing the elbows in halfway, curling over the toes. I'm actually going to drop my knees for this one, curl my toes back under, going back to downward dog. Right leg up, hip height, knee to nose. Drop the right foot down, right side of the mat, give your hips enough space, drop your left foot down, 45-degree angle, same thing, squeeze those outer hips in, coming back up through our warrior one. And now, watch me for the changes. So from here, bring your hands to heart center. And then I want you guys to turn so you're on crescent. So this is our crescent leg. So moving from the hip being sort of open to the hip being neutral. Now from here, we're going to put all of our weight into our right leg. If you want to move your foot back up, we're going to move into this from standing split. If you want to move your foot kind of halfway up, absolutely. So I'll do that with you. So I'm in my crescent, but kind of like a half crescent. And then we're going to move into standing split. One motion. You're going to actually come down to the floor, kind of extend your leg up. So we're kind of doing it like, kind of like I'm a little teapot. So on your deep breath in, and then I exhale forward, kind of fold. Use your hands to catch yourself. Keep your hip neutral. So you want to keep your hip pointing down. So this is our standing split. Let's take 2 breaths here. Don't lock out that knee. Keep a little softness in the standing leg. Get your block ready. And now we're going to peel open into our Ardha Chandrasana. So placing your hand on your block or on the floor, you're going to create that length by moving your navel to your spine and then opening up that side body, peeling that left arm toward the sky, opening up that hip, working to get them stacked. However, it's really your standing leg that's doing the changing. It's really that this is a nice long leg as if it's in Tadasana. So you want to have openness in the chest and practice the gaze. Maybe the gaze is looking down, maybe your gaze is looking out, but you want to have a nice long line of energy from the crown of your head, tips of your toe, foot is flexed, and toes are pointed to the side. One more breath.
and sort of unpeel yourself back down. Go through your standing split the same way we came. Drop that left leg down into crescent. We'll come into high crescent pose just for a moment. And then hands to heart center, palms down, move through your vinyasa, or you can meet me in downward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, looking forward between your palms. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat, landing your halfway lift with your knees bent. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Hands to heart center, down by your side. Take a nice deep breath. Great job. Let's do the other side. So you want to have your block close to the front top left of your mat as we move through this into our fun sun CV situation. All right, here we go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, chair pose. One breath here, that's it. Neutral back, and then exhale, let it go. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then stepping back into your plank pose, pitching forward, squeeze those elbows in, flipping over the toes, Urdhva or Cobra. Exhale, downward dog, left leg up, hip height. Squeeze knee to nose. Drop your left foot down, left side of the mat. Give your hips enough space. Drop that right leg down, squeeze the outer hips in, coming up to your warrior one just for a moment. Exhale out. Then bring your hands to heart center and then create crescent. So you're just going to neutralize your hips, and now we're in our crescent pose. So from your crescent pose, if you need to, you can move up halfway, sort of prepare for going into our standing split. Otherwise, I want you to just mentally think of placing all your weight in that right leg. Just do that for a moment right now. Don't do it in your body, just do it in your mind. Kind of feel like the Matrix. You know, there is no spoon. One more breath here. And then moving all that weight forward into our standing split. So do your I'm a little teapot. You're in your standing split, keeping that hip closed. Key here is squeezing that left glute med in hardcore. Length through the chest, out through the cervical spine. One more breath. Exhale out, get your block ready. And then keeping your block to the front left, about 8 or 10 inches in front of you, we're going to peel open the body, soft standing knee, flexing that right leg, opening up into our Ardha Chandrasana half moon. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Consider that line of energy from the right toes, tips of the heel, all the way out to the crown of your head. One more breath. Wobbles are good. Stabilizer muscles engaged. And then return to closing that hip, placing both hands on the ground. Back to your standing split for a breath. Exhale. Now return back to your high crescent. Arms go back up. One breath here. Exhale, hands through heart center. Palms down to the floor, vinyasa, or back to your downward dog. Inhaling Urdhva or Cobra, back over the toes. Exhale, downward dog. One breath here. Exhale out. And then if you can, from here, roll through. I'm going to do it badly, and I want to give you just an idea of what it is. So inhale, and then you kind of come up on your knees, if that's comfortable for you, and you're just going to sort of scoop yourself through. You don't have to do it that way, but wherever you are, come down to a seat. You deserve it. Okay. So, since we're not exhausted because we've been doing so much chest opening, let's do a little core. So, we are going to move into boat pose. So, finding our sits bones like we found earlier. Moving the legs up. Your legs can either be straight, they can be bent slightly. But if they're straight, make sure that you're not compensating in other areas. For me, that just is never a go. So my legs are usually bent wherever you are. Take a moment to breathe, find the core, and then we're going to move into 3 different types of activities. So, palms to heart center. Take a deep breath in, find those sits bones, and we're going to go side to side. So twist to the right, back, left,
back. So for me, I'm exhaling on each turn. And remember, you only have to do one half of the breath. Your body does the rest. Figures it out. Breath can be involuntary and voluntary. So wherever you are, keep your breath rhythm going. Make sure that you come back to that center deliberately and activate that core. You should feel your upper abs. I can tell mine are working because I'm shaking. 2 more. Now let's hold in the center for just a moment. And we're going to do 10 ups and downs. So I want you to extend, think of that open chest, lower down to low boat, back up, hands to heart center. Keep the legs neutral. Keep going. That's 8, 7, 6. Minimize this if you have any strain in the low back. 5, I think. 4. You want to keep those abs engaged, so don't cheat and don't drop off. Keep going. If you want to do 100 more, keep going. But we'll do 3, 2, 1. Hold. Now flutter kick. 10, 9, 8, 8, 8. Just kidding. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Deep breath in. Exhale out. 1 more. You can put your palms underneath and sort of try to do them this way, but I'm going to try to do scissor kicks with just a little clasp in the middle. So extending the left leg up, right leg is down, lifting upper back and neck off, and you're going to close behind your left leg and do the same for the right. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. This was a lot to do. 13. You can do it. I'm doing it right here with you. 12, 11, 10. You got this. 9. So close to being done. 8, 7, 6. Keep everything engaged. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Squeeze the knees and drop the head and neck back. Take a super deep breath. This definitely can count as yoga and a workout. 1 more deep breath here. Take that all in and then let it all go. Beautiful. Cross your right ankle over your left. Rock and roll back up. Meet me in downward dog. From your downward dog, lift your right leg up hip height and move into lizard pose. Bringing the knee to your nose, bring your right leg closer to the right side of your mat, and then move your right arm inside so that both your right and left arm are inside your right knee. And make sure you keep your right knee over your right ankle, but you can drop your left knee, use your block, drop into that lizard pose, extending, getting tons of stretch in that left hip flexor. But you want to keep that right knee glued to your right shoulder. Knees and shoulders are having a moment tonight, apparently, in this class. So even though we just did a lot of core, we're actually starting our cool down, lizard being one of them. So that being said, tell your mind that, tell your body that. Tell it with the breath. Slow down our breath here. Smooth out our mind. Keep that length in the neck. Always tons of options in this pose for where you want to have your hands, elbows, arms, forearms. 1 more breath. And carefully remove the prop if you are using it. And then place your right hand on the outside of your right knee, so you're back into that low lunge, curling the toes under, back into that full low lunge. And then you can go back through a vinyasa, or you could just meet me in downward dog. I want you to pedal out the feet just a little bit. And then stillness. And then lift your left leg up hip height and move into lizard on the other side. So first by coming into that low lunge and then moving the left hand and shoulder inside and moving that left foot slightly out over to the mat, dropping the knee down, coming down to elbows or forearms, and maybe using a block. Remembering that each side of the body is different and the body is different every day. So maybe on this side, you stay up on your hands like me, maintaining a soft bend in the elbow. That's how warmed up we got. I had to turn the heat off from here. Keeping that left shoulder or outside of your left arm connected to that left knee. And breathe. And deeper I move into the stretch. I feel it in my hip flexors, but I also feel lengthening in my neck. Always want to keep the neck nice and long. One more breath here. And then coming off of your props and blocks if you use them, and then moving the hand outside. Maybe your knee is up, or maybe you extend it up and you're back in that low lunge position, and going back through your vinyasa if you want to do last vinyasa of the class. Or you can go back just to your downward dog. And from downward dog, looking forward between your palms, hops up or float to the front of your mat, and just come to a seat. Beautiful job. So in our seated posture, as we still work to catch our breath and use our breath to inform our body, bring the soles of the feet together, Baddha Konasana. You could place props underneath your knees if you need to, or if you're feeling kind of nice and warm like I am, you can choose not to use them. Place your thumbs in the, I keep wanting to say palms of your feet today, the soles of your feet, and open them kind of like a book. So the outside edges of your feet, pinkies, are staying together, and open them up. Use that to create openness in the chest like we've been doing throughout class. Once you create that openness, locate your sits bones like I always say before, forward fold, and then lift up out of your waist and fold forward. So really take your time here. If you want to use a prop to take the weight or pressure off of your neck and holding up your neck, that makes it a more restorative posture. Highly recommend in Baddha Konasana to really sort of let this all sink in. One more deep breath here. And slowly start to come back up, carefully removing your props or blocks, placing one hand on the outside of each knee and carefully closing up the book. And then extending your left leg out, keeping energy, keeping it neutral from the hip socket, placing the sole of the right foot on the inner left thigh in our seated tree. Locate those sits bones, feel that length, and we're going to stretch our arms up and then lifting forward fold over that left leg. Okay to keep a soft bend or even a pretty good bend in this left knee. It doesn't impede the benefits of the posture in any way, and for me it gets actually a greater stretch in my outer hip and hamstring and calf. So wherever you are, just breathe. One more deep breath here. And then lengthening back up, back through, hands to heart center,
Exhaling, hands down by your side, and then we're going to switch sides carefully. So I always like to give my legs a thank you squeeze at this point. Extending that right leg out nice and long, toes up, energy in the leg, finding the sits bones, sole of the left foot, inner right thigh, and then inhaling, arms up, lifting up out of the hips and waist, then folding forward. You can also use a way to create a little leverage during this posture and really get some length in the cervical spine, or you can choose to make it more relaxing and sort of restorative. But wherever you are, focusing on getting that length and that nice smooth breath. And inhaling back up, arms can come up and down through heart center as we exhale our palms to the floor. Again, extending that left leg out, maybe a little bit of thank you wiggles. And then we're going to move into our Shavasana, first doing just a gentle twist. You can keep your props near you if you need to, they might come in handy. Make your way carefully and gently down to your back. So here we are, we're back. Take a moment to breathe here and let everything sort of resettle, let all the molecules resettle. And then pulling your right knee into the chest, similar to the beginning of class, placing your left hand on your left hip and then extending your right hip out, maybe noticing if that feels a little more open than it did previously. And then after you extend it out to the right, cross it over the body by using your left hand to cross over your left knee and extending it over to the other side in our supine twist. Right arm can be extended all the way out, or it can be maintained on the body and torso. You want to try to get your cross shoulder down, but that's the aim, and it's all about the journey. Take a couple of breaths here. Remember that as you move through these postures, it's all about finding your own way. Every posture is different for every body is different every day, and every day is different. So you have to be compassionate with yourself, be gentle with yourself. You gotta kind of find your own North Star. One more breath. And bringing that right knee back into the chest. And extending that right leg out to meet the left. And we'll do the other side. So left knee comes into the chest, squeezing it in for just one loving moment. Placing your right hand on your right hip, extending your left leg out to the side just as a comparison for earlier. And to create that beautiful symmetry. And then using your right hand crossing over the body and grabbing that left knee and then moving across the body to bring the left knee over to the right side and extending that left arm out if it's comfortable, or keeping it on the body, wherever works for you. You have to be your own guide through the postures. Your body will tell you. Where you can soften, see where you can lengthen,
more time in a gentle way. Wherever you are, one more breath. And carefully bring your knees back into the chest and wrap your arms around them. Nice big squeeze, the squeeze of love and hugs that you would give to maybe a family member you haven't seen in a long time, or to a puppy. Squeeze everything in, tiny little ball, and then on your exhale, let everything go. Shavasana. And let the breath return to its natural rhythm. Let your body soak in all the benefits of your beautiful practice today. You worked with your body, but also challenged your edges. And you gained strength and wisdom today on your mat. Continue breathing here, and I will let you know when it's time to come back. Slowly invite movement into your fingers and toes, into your wrists and ankles. Maybe you circle them, and allow that movement to slowly flutter through the body, keeping your eyes closed. Gently bring your knees into the chest. Carefully move on to the left side body, and then putting your palms together as a pillow under your head. Take one deep breath. Using your right hand to carefully push yourself up into a seated posture. We will prepare to close our class together. Take a moment to thank yourself for honoring what your body needed today. I'm so grateful to have been a part of your journey with you. Inhale, arms up. Exhale through heart center. Lift your thumb knuckles to your third eye. I hope that you can all find your own north to guide you and keep you strong and healthy. We bow together. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. That was an amazing practice. I hope you enjoyed it. I know you guys did a great job at home. That was really ambitious, and I'm so, so proud of you. Have a great week. Can't wait to see you again. Thank you.